Hello everyone and welcome back to Car Mechanic Simulator. I'm not going to waste time with an intro. I'm going to get right to work. We are going to work on the front suspension of our car today. So we got to take apart the front suspension first. We're going to take the calipers off, the brake pads off, the brake disc off, the wheel hub cap, shocks, everything. Everything's got to go. It's a fire sale. Now, unlike the engine, the majority of the stuff for the suspension is going to be here. We might be missing one or two pieces, but the overwhelming majority will be here. When we get to the exhaust, you'll be lucky if any of it's there. That's usually the way it works with these junkyard cars. Look at our shiny engine up there. Isn't that thing beautiful? So as we rip this thing apart, we are going to take everything over to the workbench once we're done taking it apart, just like we did before. And we're going to fix up as much as humanly possible. That's the plan. That way we don't have to buy as many parts. I'm not really concerned about the money because I have a lot of it on the game, but the time is an issue of having to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So on today's episode, we're going to get this entire front suspension taken apart. We are going to redo the wheels here. And by the time we're done, it's going to be beautiful underneath this car, on the front section at least. In the next episode, we will work on the rear suspension and get that finished up, and then all we'll have left is the exhaust, and all of the parts will be good. Then we have to fix the body up, get rid of all the rust. We have to do the interior, we have to do the body work on it, all the glass work, all that stuff has got to be done. We have to detail and clean the car, and then we will be ready to go to paint. And when we go to paint, we can pick any color we want. So if you guys have a preference of what color you would like to see, leave it down in the comments, and I will go with whoever has the most votes. Whatever color has the most mentions, that's what I'll use. I know I'm not telling you every single part as I take this thing apart, but there's really no point because I'm going to be doing that when I put it all back together. So I figure why go through it all twice. I'm kind of trying to do this really fast and get it ripped apart, and I'll go a little bit slower when I put it back together. You have bushings here, very important. Don't forget your rubber bushings. That's something that is very easy to forget. Now everything is off the car. We are going to fix everything up here on the workbench. Now not everything will be able to be fixed, but all the parts that I am able to fix, I'm going to fix. But certain things like your brake pads, obviously you're not fixing those. You can fix your calipers, but you can't fix the brake disc. For mechanics out there, they're talking about the rotors. For all you redneck mechanics like me who didn't know what a brake disc was when I started playing this game, because my whole life I've always called it a rotor. Alright, so we put the steering rack back in now. Just kind of throwing in parts that I already have that I fixed. Front sway bar B, I have to buy a new one of. I didn't think that would be able to be fixed because usually it isn't. Usually I can never get that thing to repair on any of the cars I've done. Let's see. Go down here, front sway bar. We need front sway bar B, so we'll pick that up. And we'll throw that back in the car. And while we're here, I'm going to buy a buttload of these rubber bushings, because I'm going to need them. I'm also going to need small rubber bushings for the rear suspension. And you don't only need it for the obvious places. There are certain parts that also, like the arms have to have bushings in them in order to work. The upper and lower suspension arms, they need bushings in them. Alright, we are going to pick up, let's see, the front steering. No, we need the inner tie rod. We're probably going to need the outer tie rods too, but we'll see. Alright, inner tie rod. Go ahead and put the other rubber bushing in while I'm here so I don't forget it. I am really bad at forgetting to put the rubber bushings in. That's why I told you, don't ever forget that. Because the thing is, when you're looking at the car to try to figure out what you haven't done yet, that's one of those things that you will definitely miss, is the bushings. Alright, we need a front steering knuckle C. That we were able to repair that, but the other side we're going to need one for. The upper suspension arm, we can repair that, and see, it takes 2 rubber bushings. That's what I was telling you. You got to make sure that you have them on hand because you're going to need them. And if you didn't buy them in the shop, you're going to have to go back. Alright, outer tie rod, yep, that's what I thought. We're going to need both of those. So we got to go back to the shop for that. Front axle knuckle cover. Well, we'll go ahead and buy the outer tie rods first. Alright, go ahead and buy that. And we're going to buy the outer tie rod. Alright, let's put all this back together. Outer tie rod first. I went ahead and bought 2 of those so that I would have the one for the other side as well. See the bottom suspension arm, we have that. We have the bushings, let's put that on the car. It is beautiful, nice and shiny. Front axle knuckle cover, we're going to need another one of those for the other side. The front wheel hub, we got our shocks over here, double wishbone. Sway front end link B, we're going to need 2 of those. The shocks are always going to have to be rebuilt, every car. Every car you fix up. See, front sway bar, front end link B, we're going to get 2 of those. And I'll show you the shocks here in a minute when we get to it. Okay, sway bar, put that on. Alright, here's the double wishbone shock absorber, that's where that goes. Now, you're always going to have to buy the parts for that. I'll show you where that is. Here's the double wishbone shock absorbers. There's 2 of those we'll buy. And you can see here, it is a kit. It has the spring and the absorber cap. You need both of those. You need to join those to the shock absorber that I just bought in order to make the complete shock for the car. So we got to buy the front spring and we have to buy the front shock absorber cap. I went ahead and bought 2 of each of them because I need 2, one for each side. So this is my spring puller. I have to come over here and I got to join these parts together. You put them on here and you wait. Only takes a second or 2. And then it'll be ready. And then I can pull it back off. And then I repeat that process one more time for the other side of the front end. And then I have my completed shocks that I can put on the front of the car. Every single time you do a rebuild, you're going to need to replace these. Because I've never had one yet where they were okay. And you can't repair them. They have got to be bought again and put on the car. And you can't buy them put together. You got to put them together yourself. Alright, front wheel hub. That's good, but the other side is going to need it, so we'll buy that when we get there. Okay, the wheel hub bearing. Those both are bad, so we're going to have to get 2 of those. That's going to be all the way down at the bottom. Went ahead and bought the other front wheel hub I needed too for the other side of the car. Figured while I'm here I might as well, right? Buy 2 of these, and then I might as well buy 2 of the caps as well, the wheel hub caps, because most likely if the bearing is bad, I'm going to need a new cap too. And if I don't, then I just have extra for the next car. But it'll save me a trip. Alright, let's put the bearing in. Let's go ahead and put the cap on. Yep, I needed both of those. Now we're going to need the brake disc, and this is the ventilated version. All that really means is it's got the holes. Yeah, both of those are going to be bad, and I'm going to need the pads as well, and I'll show you where you get those. In the brakes here, you can get your pads, your calipers, your brake disc ventilated, your back brakes, all that stuff. So I also needed calipers, so I got that, and I've got 2 sets of pads. So we should be in business now to put the entire brake system for the front together. Throw the rotor on. Throw the brake pad on. Put the caliper on. Now where this differs from real life is you have to make sure you bleed the air out of the brakes and all that stuff when you put them on. You don't have to do that on the game. But if all you do is what you did on the game in real life and put that together, your car is not going to stop, because you haven't bled the excess air out of there. So you're going to have a little period of time where you have to bleed that air out, because if not, when you press the brake, it's not going to work. Alright, we put the 1 bushing on, got the inner tie rod going in. The front steering knuckle is there, but I want to try to get to the other that goes on the cross member if I can. There we go. Rubber bushing goes in there. Because if I don't do that, I'm telling you, I will forget it, and then the car will be worth substantially less because it's not complete. Alright, we got to go back over here to suspension, and we have to go down here and buy the front steering knuckle. Go ahead and grab that. We should have, I think, the rest of the parts we should have, because I bought them as I went. Let's make sure, though. Upper suspension arm. Yes, we have that. And I'm going to run out of rubber bushings. Damn it. I should have bought 20. I knew I should have bought 20. I don't need 20, but I need more than 10. Alright, so let's go ahead and pick up some more of those. We won't need them for the rear, only for the front. The rear takes a small rubber bushing, so I'll just buy 10 of those. Alright, so that's on. Go ahead and throw the outer tie rod on. Fasten that down. Alright, now the bottom suspension arm, we have that as well. We got a lot of bushings now, so we'll throw that together. The front end sway bar B, pop that sucker on. We got our other shock absorber, throw that on. And that should be about it for the inside of it. Now all we gotta do is build out the knuckle cover and the brake system. I think that's it. Okay. Front axle knuckle cover. Oh, we didn't buy the other one. Well, I lied to you. We got to go back to the store. But this should be all we need now, because I bought the brake system for the other side too when I was in here last time. Alright, front axle knuckle cover. Get that. We will throw that on. And now it should be gravy work. Front wheel hub goes in. Fasten that down. Throw the bearing in there. If I can get it to focus on it. Okay, the wheel hub bearing. Pop that guy in. The cap. Now we're back onto our rotor. Let's throw that on there. Our pads and our caliper. And we are in business. Oh no. That's not going to do. There's one more part I didn't buy. I didn't even think to buy it, the caliper cylinder. I didn't check that on the other side to see if this one was good or not. So we are going to put the new one on here, not the old one. So now our calipers are on. We'll pretend that we bled the air out so that the people don't die when they try to drive it. And I believe that should be the entire front suspension done. Now all we have to do is take the tires off the rims and repair the rims and then either put them back together or buy more tires. I can't remember. Okay, we need to separate the other tire now. There was times when I would be doing the tires and I didn't even do the same tires that were on the car. I made them a lot bigger and fancy rims and all that kind of stuff. And I might do a little bit of that at some point if I do more of these videos for this game. Because there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. I haven't beat this game yet. I'm not all the way leveled up. I'm a good portion of the way leveled up, but I haven't completely beat it yet. Alright, so let's see what size tires we need. Should be all the way down at the bottom. Okay. It's very difficult to see. It's 255, maybe 60 R16. My eyes are not as good as they used to be. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to try to guesstimate it a little bit too, I think. Okay, we need to go down to the tire shop. We need race tire B, and we know the width was 255. Profile, we're talking 60, and then 16s. Yeah, we're going to buy 2 of them. Let's buy all 4. I'm sure we will use them again. Because we're going to need these same tires for the rear suspension as well. When we redo that next video, we are going to need tires to replace there too. So I went ahead and bought all 4 of them instead of just 2. I had tires, I thought, for my last build that were the same. They were also race tire Bs, and they were also 255 60s R16s, but I must have sold them because I thought I had them, but when I looked at my inventory they weren't there. So that's why I went ahead and bought the 4. Alright, so we'll put the first one on while the other one's balancing. Doesn't that look a lot better? That is a sexy tire. Alright. As soon as this gets done balancing, then that will be job done for the front suspension. And then next video, we will do the rear suspension and get that all spiffy and shiny. But she is starting to come together. Starting to look like an actual car. I still wouldn't drive it yet because you would die. Guaranteed you would die. If it would even start. It probably wouldn't even start because it doesn't have all the parts yet. But the engine's there, and the front suspension's there, the transmission's there, so maybe. But it is now worth $39,274 because of what we did to it. When we started this, it was worth a little over 11 grand. So we have substantially profited from this already. And once we get done, it'll be worth a great deal more because I'll have everything completely 100% fixed up, and it will be gorgeous. Because we will fix the body, we will fix everything on this guy. But you can look by part if you want and make sure that all of the parts are in the car and everything's 100%. Or you can look up at the top here and it'll tell you also the percentages. So that's about all the time I have for in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like and subscribe. And until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.